You're watching continuing live coverage of the aftermath of a devastating tornado that tore through southern Joplin and perhaps some areas west and east of Joplin this afternoon and this evening. Left a wide path of destruction, a number of injuries, and according to the Weather Channel, unconfirmed reports, but according to the Weather Channel, at least 24 people dead in and around the Joplin area. Tornado unlike anything that we've seen, certainly in Joplin.
Well, and that's why the Weather Channel's here. We knew that we were a prime spot to have severe weather this afternoon, and they have chase teams, and they just ended up in Joplin right where it was.
Well, and in fact, you were on top of this and looking at the possibility that this was going to come in, and you were giving us some warning in advance. How much heads up did people get before this
well, we had
into the area?
We had numerous tornado warnings across southeast Kansas, but nothing that actually dropped on the ground. But once it made it to Galena and Riverton, Brian Davis and I, meteorologist Brian Davis, we were looking at the signatures, and we just kept sitting there saying they've got to issue, and they finally issued and gave as much warning as we possibly could.
Well, and of course there were the visual sightings, but also there was the radar, and it had that strong hook echo, that typical sort of signal that you get, and it was clearly indicative of a tornado, and in this case you seem to know from your reporting that it was apparently on the ground. How did you get that sort of an indication?
We don't actually know, but by looking at the signature, it was so strong, and I was looking at the radial velocities, which shows us the winds. They were so strong that it just common sense told me it has to be on the ground. And then finally, 5-6 minutes after that, we were getting reports in, it's on the ground, it's on the ground. And then once you know it's on the ground, that's when you know, obviously, it's going to be doing damage.
Now, you were telling people they needed to take cover. And, you know, unfortunately, I think people hear that so often, and sometimes they think, well, it's not going to hit me. I've been here, you know, I've lived here all my life, I'm going to be okay. And you hope that they heeded the warning and they did indeed take cover. But, you know, I hear stories all the time. People, instead, they want to go out and they want to look at the storm.
Well, that, and we do. We have so many tornado warnings around here, but you have to know 80% of them are just funnel clouds. They're not touching the ground. People kind of push them aside, and then we have an event like this every few years, and it reminds everybody you have to take every single one seriously.
Yes, obviously, and that is the case, because you never know which one is going to be the one that's going to hit with this sort of force. Lisa